is the J.R. Joker Show. Thanks for tuning in. Before we begin, be frank, you could tell me. Does this vacuum cleaner make me look fat? Write in and let me know. In case you don't know, this show is coming to you live from Miami. Miami is a city of immigrants, which is, I'm not xenophobic. I think it's great everywhere I go. I've been around the world several times, and everywhere I go, they're all a bunch of foreigners, and that's perfectly okay with me. Miami is a city of immigrants. As a matter of fact, I like to think of the initials, M-I-A-M-I, or the letters that compose the word Miami, form the expression, the heartwarming, immigrant-loving expression, M-I-A-M-I. Many immigrants and more immigrants. My wife's an immigrant. She's from Colombia. Lovely woman. Lovely woman. Has given me 5 very, very happy years. 5 out of 45. What percentage is that? I don't know. I'm not very good in math. I don't know. Well, but I know my wife loves me. She check this out. She knitted me a sweater. That proves to me she loves me. Do you know how many hours? Well, she's got nothing but time in her hands in prison anyway. She took up knitting there because she said she was looking for something to do with her hands during our conjugal visits. Where did she get the material to knit sweaters? She forced her cellmate to unravel her clothes. She kept getting the same cellmate. She was a streetwalker, a trollop, a slut, a woman of the night, a prostitute. And I guess she liked doing it. Because they kept arresting her, put her back in. They don't keep you in jail for that very long. And then put her out on the street, which is where she wanted to be anyway. Put her back in jail. And she was very enthusiastic about her job. She was really gung-ho. Okay, to my credit, I was ashamed as soon as I said it. Did you laugh? Did you laugh? For shame. Okay. But my wife really has been a very strong influence in my life. She really started me on a spiritual path. Because I just clearly saw the fact that she never got hoarse had to be a miracle. There's just no other explanation. Okay. I joke a lot about my wife. This is classic comedian fodder. Take my wife, please. Well, why can't anybody use those jokes anymore? Henny Youngman's dead. That means no one's going to say those jokes anymore. Irving Berlin is dead, and everyone sings his songs. I never understood that. I think I mentioned this before. Yeah, you could sing somebody else's songs forever. God, there's something like 500 versions of Yesterday. George Carlin's dead. What's the point of making a list of artists who have passed away? Pretty much every comedian that was ever on the Ed Sullivan Show, almost every single one of them, has gone to that big nightclub in the sky. So that means we could never hear George Carlin's Indian Routine or Congolia Breckenridge or say any of those great one-liners by Henny Youngman. My wife asked me to take her someplace where she's never been before. I told her to go to the kitchen. But maybe the rules will change someday. Because anybody can sing anything. Anybody can sing anybody else's music. But you can't tell somebody else's joke. I don't know. You're supposed to be entertaining people, amusing people. Anyway, I'm getting off this subject of my wife. So it's, as comedians do that. Rodney Dangerfield always told jokes about his slutty wife, and the truth is that it's kind of weird. His wife passed away of natural causes like 20 years before he even started doing routines like that, because when his wife passed away, he was, I think, doing clubs a little bit, but then he focused on just being a salesman or something like that. He had to raise his family, and anyway, so my wife is actually tremendously interesting. Great beauty from Colombia, and I mean, there's so many beautiful women from Colombia and all over South America. We know about Sofia Vergara, but go to South America, and you're going to see like Sofia Vergara standing around everywhere. It's like when Miss Universe, became popular. Now we had not just North American women like Miss America, but we had, women from Argentina, Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, Spain, Dominican Republic, etc., etc., etc. And these are very exotic females. And the judges who are used to judging just North American girls, they're just like agog when they saw the South American. I mean, because, you might think the contestants in Miss America are good looking, but I mean, compared to the Latin contestants in Miss Universe, North American women are men. Ugly men. No, I mean, the judges, when the North American women are strutting their stuff, they're writing, 5.7 or 8.4, with stuff like that, and then the South American women come strutting out and all these, So anyway, my wife is one of those women, a real beauty queen, and but very adventurous. Very adventurous. She, on her own, started to explore her home continent. She went into the Amazon all the way to Ipiales. Ipiales is the heart of the Amazon, where several countries meet. I think the countries that meet there are Colombia, Peru, and obviously Brazil. That's where they meet. Have you met Peru, Colombia, Colombia, Peru, Peru, Colombia? How you doing there? And then she went all around her native country, and then finally ended up going to the North Coast. She's a Bogota girl, which, if you don't know where that is, that's kind of in the middle of the country, and it's the capital of Colombia, and it's on a high 8,000-foot plateau. And for years before I went there, I had been living in Florida, which is as flat as a pancake. I mean, it's like, like the high point, in South Florida is like 6 feet above sea level, and then you go to Bogota, it's 8,000 feet, and you get pretty lightheaded if you don't take it easy. Anyway, but she left there. Terrible weather. It's like drizzling all the time in Bogota, not all in Colombia. Anyway, so she split for the North Coast. I don't know what she heard about, but there's mountains there on the North Coast of Colombia called the Sierra Nevada Mountains, and she marched up there and stayed with the Indians for 5 years. There's a tribe of Indians up there called the Kogies, Koguis, Kogies. How else would you spell it? And she became like one of them, and she made periodic sojourns down the mountain. And by then I was living with a medicine man at the foot of the mountain, studying herbal medicine, and we met and blah, 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 blah. So we lived together for years, got married, came to America, and started to do crazy things that just wanted to do. One of the crazier things we did was skydiving. Her chute didn't open, and she fell 3,600 feet and lived, but real smashed up. Every single organ in her body was either perforated, lacerated, crushed. 3 of her vertebrae were pulverized. Her spinal cord was shredded, not broken. She had 22 doctors working on her. All but one said she would never walk again. So she showed them, after lots of bed rest and her body in a cast. I mean, like total, like, you know, like, I mean, her torso in a cast. She graduated to a wheelchair, and then she graduated to crutches, and then a cane, and then she's able to walk. Oh, with a limp, you know, but show those 21 doctors. Yeah. So pretty outrageous. About 3 years after the accident, when the torso cast was already off, and we had gone to Hawaii to visit some friends there. We went to the Big Island, which is, what is the Big Island called? I think that is Hawaii, right? Yeah, Honolulu is on Oahu, right? Yeah, Hawaii, the Big Island, capital city Hilo, and they got a couple of live volcanoes there, Kilauea and I can't remember. And we wanted to go visit this very natural pond. It's very unusual pond. A bit of a hike, about a half-hour hike from my friend's farm that we were staying at. And it was hilly, and she dragged herself up the hill. She only has 20% use of one of her legs. By now it's probably up to a good half, but at that time not much. And you know, and this is an adventurous woman, used to mountain climb and, you know, do all that stuff. So she didn't want to let her handicap condition keep her down. So she dragged herself up a hill and down another and up another, just literally dragging herself. And so she's pretty brave, and I don't feel guilty at all about telling those jokes, because that's my job. I'm J.R. Joker. Funny man. So anyway, that's one of the true tales, which is part of my whole gig. And I guess I'll see you next time.